And we're live here. Good morning all. 1st of June, start of a new month. It's Darren and Steve with Across the Pond. Morning, Darren. Or good afternoon for you.
Yeah.
Going
How are
well.
you?
Well, it's strange times here. Strange times indeed.
Yeah, there's a few protests going on.
Right across the country, all because of obviously the terrible and tragic death of George Floyd, and it's caused outcry across the nation. With lots and lots and lots of honest, true, and thoughtful protesting by people, but then as with a lot of these things, that's turned to violence and looting and property damage. And it's sad, I think, because look, the country's just getting back on its feet in terms of opening it up. Certainly here in Chicago, they were talking about us going to a kind of partial opening on Wednesday, but that looks like that's now in jeopardy. Curfews all over the place. It's very troubling indeed.
It feels like it's one crisis to another, unfortunately. But
well, it stopped people talking about COVID, which probably isn't a bad thing. But of course, now you've got a lot of people saying that all of these, public gatherings and so on, have, obviously might increase, the spread of COVID-19. And I think there's similar concerns in the UK right now with returning to work and advice from scientists and so on. Is that right?
Yeah, so we're easing the lockdown here. So beforehand, originally you were allowed out once a day for a walk or a bit of exercise. Then it was unlimited times you're allowed out, and now you're allowed to meet with other people up to groups of 6. Some schools, some classes are starting back, but of course some people aren't happy because they feel like the classes that their children are in are kind of used as guinea pigs to test this out. Some people don't want the children to go back to school. So yeah, it's a little bit up in the air, and some scientists said it's a bit too early, but it's always a trade-off, isn't it? It's a case of at what point do you go back, and at what point is it safe? And if you go with a scientific point, you'll probably never go back, and if you go with a business point, you'll go back too early. So it's trying to find the right balance, and yeah, it's a tough one.
Totally agree. So we got lots of exciting stuff. We got Chris McAdams coming up this morning, a real thought leader in the speaking and event space, and we'll introduce him shortly. And then we're going to be talking about the power of free, Darren.
Yes,
we've got some top tips coming up about that, and then an update on our book, The New Normal, and I think, have you got a giveaway as well this week, mate, with something?
I have, yeah. Well, it finishes today, but we can talk about that in the power of free and how it's worked for me.
Super.
Giving away a book,
nice.
Giving away something at sales.
Yeah. Excellent. So, listen, let's introduce Chris McAdams. He's CEO and founder of Innovate Outloud. Chris has been like from the ground up, from the speaking side right the way through the event and coaching and CEOs and bringing it all together. He's a top guy. I've only known him a short while, to be perfectly honest. Another thing about the power of LinkedIn. This is how we met, over LinkedIn. And Chris, welcome to Across the Pond with Darren and Steve. Great to have you on, mate.
Grateful, gentlemen. Good to see you. Good to be here.
Excellent. So Chris, I've just done that kind of brief introduction, but just tell us about you and Innovate Out Loud and what your story is.
Well, as a core, I'm an advertising guy. So as the gray hair tells my relative age, I'm a guy that started my career in advertising, and it went back to my mom always telling me that I spent more time watching TV commercials than I actually watched the shows. And I found myself, growing up, navigating my way through, always wondering what the people were feeling, experiencing, thinking, more than the content of the show. So 100 years later, I find myself in the event space, went through advertising, direct marketing, but for the last number of years, I've been in the event space. So I worked for different companies in all factors of events. I've been anything from managing small ground transportation all the way up through scripting on stage, keynotes and breakout sessions, and dealing with all those different components through F&B, the food and beverage component as well. So I've touched on just about every single element within the event space, and I gravitated towards keynotes. So I left the specific event world as a job and got into the speaking world with a large bureau out of Boston. And what a wonderful experience. So I worked and really understood the value of delivering message, how it's done properly, why it's done, who a leader of thought is and what they bring, and how an audience reacts. A lot of great things that I learned over time. Then the transition to Innovate Out Loud. I thought a different way. Well, it was time for me to kind of move in as the event space and keynote speaking world, and specifically kind of started to fracture. The speakers, because of technology, are now saying, hey, I don't only need to go through a bureau, I can throw my own shingle up as LinkedIn, as Steve, as you mentioned. So we get now a platform where many keynote speakers, many regular speakers get to say, I'm a speaker too, pick me. So the model from the bureau to a management model to a self shingle, I'll call it, model, the landscape has started to change. So Innovate Out Loud is, as I continue to navigate my way, as we all do, it is a platform where I know tons of speakers. I know about them and what a really good one is, as self-serving as that sounds. But I also know that we need to get the right speakers in front of the right buyers for the right reasons. And what I learned was that lots of times buyers don't know. They want to motivate the sales team to put up better numbers when actually it's a leadership issue. And so navigating through some of these dynamics is what Innovate Out Loud does, and how I work with different people to really dig in and identify what their end product is, and then work backwards.
Interesting. Tell us more about that management portion of that, Chris. It's interesting that you say that actually they think they need a motivational speaker to come along and just raise the troops, but actually the message is totally the other way by the sounds of what you're saying.
Well, really good question, and here's why. A lot of speaker choices are made in a hierarchy. So at the larger end of associations and large corporate events, an event planner is somebody who is tasked with many different moving parts. One of them also filling anywhere from 1 to 5 to 10 to 20 speaker slots, including all of these breakout sessions or whatever they have. So when they're trying to accomplish a theme, perhaps going after the theme of the event, or trying to navigate through a hurdle, some type of disruption that they have, it becomes an umbrella, when actually what they're trying to do is figure out how to make that pivot, how to make that end product be successful. And so oftentimes in the biggest category is motivational speakers. Let's bring in somebody who's climbed Mount Everest or swam across the English Channel, because they know how to persevere and they know how to. When in reality, if people were not motivated in today's world, they wouldn't stay. They'd move on to another position. They're not trying to skirt and get by for the most part. So when we dig into that, we talk about what you're trying to actually accomplish, why you're trying to do that, and what's the best for the group, the micro community that you're in, and how do we accomplish that. So these people don't go back to their desks Monday morning after an event and say, that was great, but I'm still stuck with this spreadsheet, as opposed to, how can I take this spreadsheet and then champion it to be the next version of what we're trying to accomplish. So is that kind of...
Yeah, very insightful.
So Chris, with the grey hair and the many years of experience, I'm guessing it's changed a lot over the years with digital technologies and changing business practices. But would you say it's changed as much, if not more, in the last 3 months and for the rest of 2020 compared to?
It certainly has. And A lot of the questions that I get asked are, what do you think? And are we gonna? I don't have those answers. None of us do. We all, as you guys shared at the onset before you invited me on, like, the world is crazy. And I don't know the answers, but we do know that in-person events aren't going away. But that's not where we are right now. So when I talk to customers and clients now, here's where we're at. What I think is interesting to me is the dynamic of what we tell ourselves. And so a lot of the big brands that I'm seeing, and some that I've worked with and had the wonderful fortune of working with, are still using the rhetoric of, we'll get through this together. And I kind of think, we're in this. There is no through. We are in this. So as we're in this, and this going forward, we're not going to get through the other side, and then it's going to be like, wow, did you see what happened back there? That's not what we're doing. We're in this. So as we're in this, how do we best move forward? So the long answer, Darren, to your question is that we have to address what we're given, and we're on technology sharing right now with all of your listeners. That's what we're seeing, of course, with speakers and with thought leaders bringing their messaging. And so people say it's just not going to hit as well as the in-person. I don't know. I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of people saying it's so much better, not because of ease and not because I get to, to be where I'm at, but also the psyche of the listener now is being looked at differently. The in-person event where you're sitting in an audience, you're in a mindset of the obvious, of everything that's happening within an event, within a location, with what happened the night before, what's going to happen tonight. But when you're at home, you're in your pajamas or you're in your comfies, and when you choose to latch onto a webinar or some type of cast from a thought leader, there's a different mindset and a wonderful opportunity, if it's taken properly, to really make an impression on that person, because they're in their own comfort zone. They're in a place where they're open to receiving messaging much differently than in an event. So plus minus of both, but this is where we're at.
It's interesting because I remember when Skype became about, and all of a sudden you were taking a phone call, and all of a sudden people could see your face. And I remember looking at it going, "Oh, I don't want people to see my face. I don't want." But now we'll kind of become more familiar with it. So I guess for people who are keynote speakers, they need to have slightly different skill sets, I suppose, or get used to a different way of doing it.
Well, what's interesting is for me, I like to use leaders of thought, not thought leaders. And so it's not being a bashing one way or the other. That is just how I like to present a mindset when I'm talking with leaders that are going to go on stage or crafting for their on-stage presence, is that a thought leader comes from a place of, you come to me, not physically, right? But I have the knowledge and I will impart it on you, as opposed to a leader of thought can have the same knowledge, can be a wonderful thought leader, but I'm bringing that to you. And that gets translated in the content and how you choose to say the things you choose to say. So a thought leader is taking information in a traditional sense, and this is by all means, this is my definition. They're taking information and they become a relay. I've learned this, I've experienced this, I've gained this, here you go. As opposed to a leader of thought who says, I've learned this, I've gained this, I've experienced this. Here's how I think that you should interpret this. Here's why I think that you can incorporate this into what you do every day. Here's what's going to make you a better person. And they, as thought leaders or leaders of thought, will challenge an audience more than just relay information.
Interesting. Chris, with everything that is going on, and America's known for huge events and conferences, do you think that we're going to see a scaled down version, much more kind of state or regionally focused events now, or much smaller events over shorter periods of time to accommodate?
The quick answer is yes. So we will, just as a byproduct of the current climate. So I do believe that we'll get back to big events. This is a colossal world, right? The event space is I don't even want to throw a number at it. We all know that it is absolutely massive, and they'll do everything they can. And I am one of the champions of that push as well, to come back to big events. There's nothing like them, of course, but we do have to pay attention. And I call them micro communities, not my label, but paying attention to the micro communities that we all work in now. What I do see shifting is this pause, if you will, is taking an event as a standalone experience, and it's pulling it apart. So now the event of I show up here and I leave here, and what did I gain? See you next year. Now we're starting to see it as, I'm going to ramp up let's do it from the EKG machine, right? The heartbeat of the event. A company does it and it goes again and does it again. Now it's starting to go like this. It's becoming more of a rolling. We're going into topics and we're really crescendoing, but we're coming off of them, still paying attention as the next one starts to ramp up again. So I call it the silly putty of the event world, but we're starting to see events and information, because of technology, because we're all on it, starting to stretch out a little bit. It's no longer that spike and then I'm done with it and I get my handouts. It's kind of an ongoing thing. And I think that's where the savvy people are really getting a leg up, is that they're keeping people engaged longer. And these micro communities are becoming much more solid. And we're seeing it on LinkedIn, right? And other platforms as well, sure, that these communities are becoming much more solid by people, participating, as opposed to just showing up and leaving.
Right. So what tips have you got for people in the speaking and event space, Chris?
I think the top one right now, and it's not going to be any revolutionary type thing, but for the people who are reaching out, and we're all reaching out and trying to continually build our business and our companies, and as speakers, we're trying to get booked as much as possible. Make sure we pay attention to the platform. So a lot of speakers will, and maybe have no choice. This is not a criticism, but if you can, don't take on-stage video and present it to an online platform. Use a webinar, use some type of podcast, use something that is a tech specific. So people that are buyers, when I'm playing in the middle guy in between and saying, this speaker's great and they're wonderful and look how they really engage, when they're on a stage in front of 600 people, that's wonderful. But it does not always translate into having that distance. Sure. That technology does. It gives us that in the moment live, but it also creates a distance. And the dynamic of a speaker that can engage through technology and make that person go, hey, you're just talking to me, that is so very powerful. So, first and foremost, it is doing that. And then something that I've always championed is the keynote echo. So the content that you're building for your speech, webinar, keynote, even on stage, which is starting to trickle back, it's going to happen. Think about the echo. Why does it matter? Why does your content actually matter? And why will these people choose to remember you later on? It's not 45 minutes on stage. It's not 20 minutes on a webinar. It's not whatever the dynamic or the platform gives you, and then, whoo, I'm done. It is, why are you going to be remembered for such a long time? And building content that way, especially now, is paramount.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've taken up loads of your time, Chris. Thank you for you coming on. Great seeing you, everybody. Chris McAdams, CEO and founder of Innovate Out Loud. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Soon.
Yeah, take care. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. So insightful.
Yeah, almost giving away too much information.
There you go, the power of information. But I've never heard anybody say about that. Think about the echo before. That really resonated with me. So, and yeah, great. A man that knows his subject as well, Derek. For sure. So what should we do first? Should we do our funny for this week?
Yep. I don't know if you have one at all, Steve, or is it just me? And is it?
It's just you. Listen,
Just me.
I can't match you, man. You know.
No, just too good. This one I'm just about to share. You might need to translate for the US market because it uses the word real estate, which I think you call. Oh, sorry, we use the word estate agents. Well, I think in the US you call it real estate. But
yeah, real estate agents. Yeah.
Clarify this. One of the easing of the lockdowns in the UK is that car showrooms can now open up, and people can now go to buying and selling houses again. So, but again, we can't go to other people's houses. So apparently we can't visit our relatives' homes, but estate agents or real estate can buy and sell houses. So I'll put my house on the market, and Mum and Dad are going for a viewing at 4:30.
Nice one. Yeah, I like that one. Very good. I'm going to try. I'll try this week. I'll try this week to find one for next week. I promise.
Pressure's on you.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about the power of free in the last kind of 10 minutes today. Your topic, mate. Go ahead. Dive in.
I've talked to people lots in the past, to customers and presentations where I've talked about how giving away things for free can lead to sales, which probably makes no sense because I think some coaches would say don't undervalue your services, don't go cheap. Your time and your knowledge is worth something. But time and time again, I see the offering something for free actually ends up in increased sales. And I just want to give an example. I've got 6 books on Amazon. Not a sales pitch, but on Amazon you can do one of 2 things with the Kindle book. You can either have a countdown promotion, which means it's normally $9.99 or £9.99, but it's going to be $2.99 for 24 hours, and $4.99 and $7.99, and it goes up it goes up in stages. Or you can offer your book clearly for free for 5 days or up to 5 days. Now, I used to just do the countdown deal. I used to think, why do I want to give it away for free? I want to make money on it. But I stopped doing that. I actually switched to offering the book for free. And I've just done it at the moment. I've got Blogging for Business, which has been free all weekend, and it's free until midnight tonight. And once again, my sales of my other books, including the sales of that book, have increased. There's a spike in activity. There's a spike in sales every time I offer the book for free. I don't know exactly why. I can guess. I can give you ideas, because maybe people look at the Kindle and go, I want the paperback, so they'll buy the paperback as a result. Maybe they'll see that the book is free and they'll see what other books I provide and then look at that and say, well, actually, I'm not interested in blogging at the moment, but I'm interested in creating a landing page or how to do email marketing, and I'll move on to other books. But the evidence is there with my customers and myself that if you offer something for free, it gets people's attention and it gets people to make a decision and to make a purchase, and it does result either immediately or short term, long term in sales growth.
Excellent. I mean, I'm kind of the other side of that coin, like you're saying about devaluing the product. But the more and more I see it happening, the more I'm kind of coming around to that way of thinking. I'll be perfectly honest. And I guess the testimony we've got for that is the new normal that came out last week. Everybody, we'll stick the link in the LinkedIn post with the recording of today's show. But already we're over. I think over 70 downloads already of the book for free, which is fabulous for just as a start. So I totally get it. I'm always skeptical, I've got to be honest, when I see stuff that's free online. Sign up for a free webinar and then people try to, do you want to buy this and you want to buy that and so on, having kind of sucked you in.
I understand the reservations. A lot of people, I provide marketing services. If I give up too much information in my blog posts, in my free ebooks, what am I going to be able to sell? Because I've told everybody everything already. We've just had Chris on, who's given some great advice. That's free advice, and people, as a result of that, might go to Chris. Say, Chris, you clearly know what you're talking about. Can you help me out?
Absolutely.
But there's actually a bit of science behind it. I'm not going to bore you to death here, but I don't know if you know Seth Godin.
Yeah, big fan.
On one of his teaching courses, he talks about, if I go to you and I say, do you want to buy this for $10? the heartbeat starts to raise. You start to clam up, a bit sweaty, and think, okay, I'm about to give my card details to someone. I'm about to make a purchase. Is it the right decision? And all sorts of things go through the mind as to whether I should do it or not. The more you know me, the more likely you're going to buy and the more trust you have. But whether you have that trust or not, if I offer something for free, the heartbeat doesn't go up. The sweatiness or the class or the concern doesn't take place. The first transaction is free, and it is a transaction. So the first transaction is completely free.
Sure.
After that, you love what you've been given, and you're more likely to go on. So if you're selling software, a 14-day trial, for example, of your software, or 14-day trial of your services means that somebody gets to experience your services, build that trust, without having that internal subconscious objection that says, I'm about to buy from someone and I don't even know whether they're going to be able to do a good job, or, are they going to run away with my credit card details? What are they going to do? So that free, it eases the path and increases sales as a result.
Kind of a cushion to commitment. Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Very good. So top tips on that then. You be an advocate of it. Give it away, but be careful of the information that you're giving away for free. Would that be a good summary, or have something killer first of all that people want?
I would work through a sales process. So you have a funnel that says somebody gets a free book, a free bit of advice, a free consultation, whatever it is, and you've got a sales process that goes through and says, okay, get back in touch. How did they get on the ebook? Did they like it? Do they want to have a chat? Do they want to have a follow-up? Do you want to give them something else that's free? Build that relationship, build that trust, and work them towards, or nudge them towards placing the order. Don't say, okay, I'm going to give away $25, £25 Amazon vouchers. If you're not in the market of selling Amazon vouchers, if you're a jeweler or you're selling coaching services, give something that's free, that's around that provides information or value to them. I would download a $25 Amazon voucher, even if I had no intention of the coaching services or buying the jewelry. But you'd get that hour's consultation if you were interested in support services.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it relevant. Yeah, make it relevant. Cool. Good stuff, mate. Well, another great show. Thanks to Chris McAdams for coming on. Who knows what the week ahead's going to bring? It's the start of a new month, though. I mean, here we are, halfway through the year, and
sunny.
Yeah, maybe we should just rewind it and go back to January 1st and see if we can mess it up again. What do you reckon?
No, 2021 will be good.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Well, so from Darren and Steve on this week's edition of Across the Pond, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Monday at 9 Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time again. Thanks for Chris McAdams for joining us. Darren, bye from me.
And goodbye from me.
See you soon, guys. Thank you.